Hello, parents. This is Mrs. Williams, and I wanted to do a mini tutorial on how you can check your child's work on Google Classroom and also help you to understand how the assignments work. I know that you guys will mostly be focusing on Class Dojo, which is where I will be posting announcements and messages for you. But I do think it may be helpful if you understand how Google Classroom works for the children. And that way, if you have questions about how to check their work, this should be helpful. Okay. Para todos los padres que prefieren español, lo que voy a hacer es un tutorial sobre cómo ustedes también pueden ver los trabajos de los niños en Google Classroom. Todo el tutorial va a ser en inglés, pero pienso que si ven paso por paso, van a entender un poco de lo que estoy explicando y si tienen preguntas después, me las pueden hacer. Okay, so when your child first opens Google Classroom, which is very easy to find on their Chromebooks, it's a little picture that appears at the bottom of their screen. I'm sure by now all the kids can show you how to get there. Then they're going to see this, which is my classroom. Okay, so one important thing is that every morning when your children wake up and open up their Chromebook, they should take a quick look at the stream. And not just in the mornings, but anytime. This is where I post announcements for the children. I will post Zoom meetings here for them as well, just like I do for you. And just so you know, parents, this is a student account. I asked my students if they would if someone could volunteer to let me use their account, and I had several kids. So I'm using a student account as an example. So again, the stream, this is where I post announcements and maybe important reminders. Like right here, this is something important that I posted. Okay. The second very important, I would say the most important thing is classwork. As you can see, I have tried to organize the students' assignments by days. So if I scroll down and go to Monday, which is when we started, you can see that there are 5 assignments, okay? I'm not gonna go into too much detail in every assignment, but I'll give you an example of what it looks like. And just so you know, usually if it's gray, it means that your child has finished it, turned it in, marked it as done. But if it's pink, it may be that they still need to finish or work on it or simply just turn it in. So just as an example, okay, when they click on that, they need to click on View Assignment to expand the whole screen, okay? The directions are always here. Again, I'm not going to go into detail. That would take very long. And then there are some assignments where all they have to do is either read something or open up something and view it, read it, review it, watch it if it's a video. And then over on this side, I know it doesn't say it now, but this will be dark and it will say mark as done. So as long as your child did the directions here, there may not be anything to turn in. They just have to mark it as done. Okay. They will get a pop-up screen that says you have not turned anything in. But as long as the directions do not ask for anything to be turned in, they can just go ahead and mark that it's fine to mark it as done. Okay. Let me take you back. So same thing here. So in this assignment, the students did have a little document here that they had to work on. So the student has their own document. They open it. They add, they follow the directions. They do what it says to do. And then they turn it in to me. So this is an example of an assignment that has to be turned in. So this student, you can see they already turned it in. Okay, if they had not turned it in, this would be dark and they would have to click on it to turn it in. Okay, also very important, I often leave private comments within an assignment for your child to read. A lot of students are not looking at my comments. Sometimes my comments are to ask them a question about the assignment or the work they completed. Sometimes my comments are to give them feedback. And again, sometimes it's a question, and because sometimes the kids are not reading it, it's hard for me to know if they saw it and they're not responding sometimes. Okay, so something to look out for. Oops, I ended up on Friday, but that's okay. Something like the Zoom meeting assignment. The Zoom meeting assignment is really just to let the kids know what we're going to work on during our Zoom meeting. Okay, so as long as the child attended the Zoom meeting, they can click done or submit. Okay, that's it. Just being at the meeting. That's an hour of their time that they're giving to spend with me and go over things and do lessons. That's it. If they're not attending the meeting, they really can leave this blank. Okay, it will just show as not turned in. Okay. All right, let's see if there's something else. Give you another example here. Okay, so here's another example where the students had to read something from here, open it and read something, and then they had to open this and answer some questions. So this is something that will definitely be turned in. So when they're done with the questions, they will turn it in. And then as you can see, some of the students here had some questions, and I do try during the week to respond to them quickly. So if they have questions, they can either use the class comments or they can send me a private message, which some kids have been awesome. They've been sending me lots of like questions and things like that. Okay, so rather than the kids asking you to send me messages on Dojo with questions, they really can just do it right here directly to me. So we're not going back and forth. Okay. That's pretty much it. I am going to show you another way that you can check your students' work. If you go to these three lines on the top corner, there's a section called To Do. I'm going to click on that. Okay, so what this does is it puts all the assignments into two categories, To Do and Done. Okay, so as you can see, this student is done with all of these assignments. Okay, now, some of these assignments, like I said, were just to read, watch a video, that's it, turned in. Some of these assignments were to go to a different website and do a lesson there, complete the lesson there, and then come back and mark it as done. Okay, but there are going to be some assignments where the students have to actually complete a worksheet or type into a document. Okay, so when they do those, once they complete those, they're going to turn it in, and that will let me know that they have completed the assignment. Okay, now sometimes your child, you'll see a check mark instead of turned in. The check mark can mean a couple of different things. It could be that I returned an assignment to them because it was done incorrectly or it was turned in too soon. And then they would need to redo it or return it in at the right time. A check mark could also just mean that I gave them some feedback, I let them know how they did, or I gave them a little score, and then I gave it back to them for them to look at. So a check mark does not mean that they have to let me click on this. Okay, so sometimes when kids see this, they think, oh no, I have to resubmit this again. Okay, sometimes they don't have to, because if I've already given them feedback or given them a score, then they really do not have to turn it in again. So it just depends. They have to click and see what feedback I gave them or, okay. So again, a check mark could mean a couple of different things. It could mean that I returned something. It could be that I graded something, gave feedback on something. Okay. And then back to the to-do. So for this student, they just have this to finish. Okay. And this was a little confusing. This was an assignment that I posted on Monday. And what I did was I gave the kids lots of choices for things that they could work on during the week. So this was if they finish all of their assignments for the day, they could come back to this list and work on some other additional things. Okay, every day. So then by the end of the week, they open up their document and they type in there and let me know which of these activities they worked on. And if they did not work on any of these activities because maybe they were just focusing on their assignments, they could type that in there too and just let me know that they did not work on any of these activities. They focused on assignments. Okay. All that I just want is for them to communicate with me and let me know what they're doing, what they're not doing. So they would, again, open up this document, type in what they worked on during the whole week. This is why they have to wait and turn this in at the end of the week, like on Friday or the weekend. And then once this student types, then they can turn it in. Okay. I would say that those are some of the most important things. I don't want to go into too much detail about every assignment. That would take too long, but I'm going to take you guys back to our main page just to do a little review. Okay, again, this is our main page. Sometimes students are messaging me, asking me, when is the Zoom meeting? What time? What is the code? And I just keep reminding them that I'm always posting everything right here on Google Classroom. As a matter of fact, the easiest way for the kids to join our Zoom meetings are to go right here, click on this link, and this will take them, just making sure you're on the right date and time. This will take the kids directly into the Zoom meeting. Okay, versus trying to type in all this information. This will take them there. So the stream, every morning when students, again, wake up, they should be opening their Chromebook. Quickly scan if there's anything new in the stream. If not, they should be going straight to classwork. So let's say today's Friday and I just woke up, opened up my Chromebook, and today's Friday. I'm going to start going through every assignment. I'm going to open number 1. I'm going to open number 2, number 3. I'm going to read everything because sometimes I do want the children to work on something before we get to our Zoom meeting. So maybe there's something here and here that I want them to work on before they get to the Zoom meeting. That way, when they get to the Zoom meeting, they're better prepared for what I'm going to be covering. And next week, parents, I may not need to have a Zoom meeting every day. It may just depend on how I'm building assignments and what I'm going to be working on. So I will continue to keep you posted about when our Zoom meetings will be, but mainly I will be posting it in the Google Classroom app, which is the one that students are using, which is this one here. Okay, so yep, this is it. This is how you check your child's assignments. So Friday's assignments, Thursday's assignments, Wednesdays, and so on. And next week, I will continue to do the same. I will put the day and then the actual date. And I may be a little more specific with my titles of my assignments so they're easier to identify. I think that's it. Your students also have a Gmail account. So I want to show you. Okay, so when the students are here, if they click on these little dots, there is their Gmail. Okay, and in their Gmail, they're going to see lots and lots and lots and lots of emails from me. And that's because everything, any activity that happens on Google Classroom, they get an email. And this is another thing that kids are not checking. So for example, every time they see something that says Miss Williams added a private comment, they really should be opening that or checking it. so that they can see if I have a question or I need them to respond back to me. If they don't check their email very often, it's okay, as long as they're really going into their assignments and checking any notes for me. Okay? That's the biggest issue I think we're having, is that the students are forgetting to go back and check and see if I left notes for them, comments, suggestions. And if I return something to them, you're going to see a little check mark. And they should take a look at that, because the check mark may just mean that I returned something with a score or a grade, and they don't need to keep resubmitting it back to me once it's given to them with a score or feedback. They should only resubmit it back to me if I said that they were missing something or they didn't finish something. That's another thing, parents, I just want to emphasize. And of course, we're doing our best. But I do want to emphasize that the children should not be marking assignments done if they're not done. I'm just going to show you what it looks like when, okay, this is what it looks like when an assignment's not done. And I just want the kids, to be cautious and read directions carefully. A lot of children are marking things done and they're not doing everything that's in the assignment. So sometimes I have to return it to them with a note, and the note will say, you're missing this part of the assignment. Okay, so I just expect them to do their best. And if they're having issues, technology issues, signing in issues, they need to leave me a little private comment here so that I know what's going on. Okay, and I think that's it. I hope that helps. And please let me know if you have any questions. Send me a message in Dojo. Thank you again, parents, for all of your help, all of your effort. You are doing an awesome job, and we're just going to keep working together on this. Thank you, and have a great weekend.